Hello and welcome back to another episode of Wait But How. I'm your host, Audie Farron, and today's episode is going to look a little different. I'm filming this right now, and I want to make it available for you guys on YouTube to watch. Hopefully you like it, because I think it'll be fun for me to connect with you guys on YouTube, because on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, I can't really interact. It's kind of just like I'm talking to the big abyss out there. My voice just goes out into the ethers, and I don't get to talk to you guys in the comments or in DMs. So I think this will be a better way to feel closer to you guys. And if you're listening to my voice on a podcast, that's also great. Some people are just podcast listeners, and some people like visual. So we're just gonna get it all at once, and hopefully it works out. So I've missed you guys, and I kind of have a lot to update you on. I do want to talk about my unofficial book club. We're reading Habit 3 right now. This book isn't really broken up into chapters, it's broken up into habits. So it's a little confusing. We're on Habit 3, and this one's about putting your priorities in order. I think it's called putting first things first. As soon as I started reading the chapter, I was getting these flashbacks from my childhood and when my mom was trying to teach us these principles, which now it's all making sense. I think she would learn this stuff and then teach us immediately, which is probably why it got so cemented into her literal being. All these principles are just so much a part of who she is. But I think it's because she was learning it and then immediately teaching it. And there's so much research on how teaching helps you be a better learner. You have to learn it better to be able to teach it to other people, especially teenagers and kids that weren't necessarily eager to learn about how to prioritize their day. She would make it fun for us and make it interesting. And I was remembering that she taught us how to keep our priorities in order with a jar and rocks, and she had us do it or try to do it on our own without any instruction, and then she did it the right way, and she put the big rocks in first and then all the little rocks, and then somehow it magically all fit. And so obviously the point of her visual lesson was that if you put your top priorities first and got the important things done first, then everything else had its place. And that's how you could live the life that you want to live, and look back and be proud of what you were putting your time and effort in. And then I flipped the page, and there's literally pictures of the jars in the book. I should find it. Wait, let me find it. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so funny. Because this is the actual book that my mom read from when she was a young mom. How funny is that? Anyways, so for the listener, it's basically just a pencil drawing of a jar with big rocks and tiny rocks. And yeah, it was just the images in the chapter as I was reading. And so it's fun to kind of get a little more context on my upbringing with these books. This is the first book I'm reading from my mom's book recommendation list. It's very long, so I have a lot of work to do. And these books aren't quick reads. They're massive and have a lot of pages. But I'm excited because they're not your typical parenting books. They're the autobiography of Benjamin Franklin and music. What is the Suzuki one? There's a Suzuki one about teaching little kids music. You wouldn't think that these were the books that shaped her parenting, but they are, and she did something right. So I'm gonna trust her and try to read as many as I can. So I'm a slow reader, and I kind of prefaced this book club with you guys with that. I'm gonna just go slow and share things that I like from these chapters or habits. So yeah, we're in Habit 3. I've said this a lot of times, but if you want to join us and read The 7 Habits of Highly Effective Families, it's not too late. We're still at the very beginning of the book. So if you buy the book, catch up and read along with us, because we're learning a lot of good things. Very simple things. It's not mind-blowing, but it's good to read these books and be intentional about what we're doing with our kids and our families. After reading Habit 3, I'm going to try to pencil in a little more family time. He talks about how when he would ask people about their priorities in life, they would say, of course, family, like they always had their go-to answers. But then when the follow-up question would come, like, well, what is your life showing? Like, how are your priorities reflecting in your actual everyday life? That there was like this big disconnect with people, and they would kind of have this huge realization that years were passing and they actually weren't prioritizing their family. They were prioritizing work and personal hobbies. And yeah, so I was thinking about my own life and what my priorities are, what I say they are, and what I know them to be. Like, I write them down all the time in my journal, or like my intentions for the year. But then, just thinking about my everyday life, and I think something I could do better is when I go to plan my week on Sundays, to actually write in what day we're going to do like a family night and what activity we're going to do and who's going to be in charge of it. Just being a tiny bit more intentional and actually penciling that time in. And then he also talks about one-on-one time with each kid, which we don't really do. If we do, it's like on accident. So that's another really easy thing we could do and pencil in so that it happens. I'm the kind of person that if I write something down, it's a commitment. Like, in writing it down, I'm promising myself I will do it. So there's a lot of power for me in that. I know everyone's a little different when it comes to like setting intentions or goals for the week, and everyone has their own systems. Some people, my sister's so good at like her phone. If she puts it in her schedule, in her calendar, it happens. Or like to-do lists, like everyone has their own system. So mine is just a good old-fashioned weekly pad that I write in. That's how I like plan my meals and stuff. So I'm gonna plan more family time. But yeah, I'm excited to just make those tiny little tweaks in my routine. And then my next life update is that I am pregnant. I'm 11 weeks pregnant today, and I honestly don't like the awkward time of like when you find out you're pregnant and then when you can tell people. I don't know if there's like specific rules that someone came up with. I think it's because you just want to be careful that you don't miscarry, but like I'm kind of an open book. Like I would, tell people that anyway. Like, how could you miscarry and just not tell a soul? Like, I just can't imagine that. I don't know if it's because I'm the youngest or just my personality type. Maybe because I'm a Libra. I don't know. Like, I just like to share my whole life. I always have. And I think that's the way that I feel connected to other people. I don't like to hide things because I want to be open and real and genuine with other people so that they can be open and real with me. And that's how I feel truly connected to people, when they're like, and I can sense their honesty and genuine vulnerability. Not that I expect people to like divulge their deepest, darkest secrets to me, but I don't know, that's just how I feel close to people. If I'm like, oh, they trusted me, or like I was so cool that we were able to connect on this deeper thing. I don't know. That's just how I am. So these awkward weeks of not being able to tell people that my brain, my body, everything has drastically changed is the hardest thing ever. And the biggest reason I didn't tell people is because I wanted my kids to find out first. And I knew that if my kids found out, they would tell everyone. So we held off telling the kids until we were closer to my doctor's appointment, just to make sure like everything was good. And then we told them, and then we found out the gender, which I will reveal later. That's coming. But yeah, it's been really hard to keep this a secret. I don't like keeping secrets, especially because you guys were seeing like my every single day journey of my marathon training and my health and my food, and I was just sharing everything, and then all of a sudden everything changed. Like my appetite changed, my energy, everything got like flipped upside down, and I had to just keep smiling through. That's why I like wasn't posting very much, or just a lot less, because I had no energy and was just completely taken out by this first trimester. As most of you know, my goal for the past year has been to qualify for the Boston Marathon in 2026. So I was trying to qualify. It took me a few tries and I finally did it. I held off getting pregnant because I wanted to give myself the best shot possible at, peak performance physically. I just wanted to have no complicating factors going into a marathon. So I ran my marathon. I BQ'd with a 3:19. That's like a 6-minute buffer time for qualifying for Boston. And then I kind of shifted gears after I, accomplished that goal. And I was like, okay, now back to my family goals and raising kids and adding to our family. So I ended up getting pregnant soon after. And then I was like 2 weeks pregnant. My whole family signed up for another marathon. So I was already pregnant when I signed up to run the next marathon after Mesa. It was like 9 weeks past Mesa, so I technically BQ'd, but I was like, let me just run this one for fun. And even if I'm pregnant, now there's just no pressure. I'll listen to my body during training, and if it feels okay and if I feel good, I'll do it. And the weekend came for this race, and I really regretted signing up because I was so nauseous. And 3 days before, you're supposed to start fueling, and I could not keep food down. I couldn't eat like I knew I needed to eat. I couldn't drink. Like electrolytes were grossing me out. Everything was grossing me out. And I don't throw up when I'm pregnant, but just on the very verge of it, like smells, textures, everything is just so gross. And it's very intense for the first trimester. So I remember driving down to Vegas for this race, and we pulled over and I just threw up. I never throw up. It's very rare, but I was so sick that I was throwing up on the side of the road, and me and Jake looked at each other. We're like, this was a mistake. Like, how am I supposed to be fueling if I'm throwing it up? So I was really nervous. I knew I could run 26 miles, but I wanted to try to at least PR because I don't know, I was there, I had done all the training, I had hit all my paces during the training, my speed work, everything was on track to PR. So regardless of being pregnant, physically, I felt okay. Just the fueling and the nausea was the thing that was stressing me out going into it. But once we got out of the car in Vegas, I felt a million trillion times better. I just was so relieved to be there. I was a little nervous about the bus ride up to the top because I was going to be in the back of a bus, and I was just praying I wouldn't get nauseous. And I really didn't want to take any Zofran or anything that would like affect me or just put another complicating factor into my body to run the marathon. I know I was overthinking everything, but I just like really wanted to give myself the best shot at doing my best. And throughout training, even throughout the marathon, I was checking my heart rate, listening to my body, any weird cramp. There was no weird cramps. But anything weird, I was willing to just like go to zone 2 and find one of my sisters and run with them and just like chill. But that didn't happen. I felt good the whole time. And it was actually funny for those weeks that I was pregnant, and even at 8 weeks running the marathon pregnant. Running was like the only time that I felt like myself. It was like the only time that I felt like free of all my symptoms. I don't know why that's making me emotional, but it was kind of like I could take a break from the struggle that I was going throughout the day. So I've definitely been in the trenches. And I'm excited to be able to tell you guys, and I just feel so relieved that you can know now. So the secret is out as of right now. No one knows. I haven't we've told our family and our kids obviously, but yeah, I haven't posted anything. So this is going to be when everyone finds out. But yeah, I ran that marathon 8 weeks pregnant. I PR'd and I BQ'd again. I didn't realize that people count how many times they BQ. So, yeah, it was a success. I PR'd by 5 minutes. So, granted, it was a downhill course, and I've talked a lot about that, so I'm not really going to go into the details of the race, but I didn't feel pregnant while I ran, and it was fun, and I'm so glad I did it. I'm so freaking glad I did it, and I'm also really glad it's over. I'm excited to just like hang up my race shoes and not race again till Boston. The timing is gonna work out perfect. Like, I'm gonna be able to rest after the baby for a couple months, and then pick up marathon training, ease into it next January. So I'm so excited to be pregnant through the summer and then hopefully keep running. I've kind of been running through these last few weeks and it's felt great. So again, I just think this is going to look different for everybody. My body is very conditioned to run, and I love running. Like, my body loves running even though I'm pregnant. And obviously the baby is so small that there's no like pelvic pain or like ligament pain or anything. Like, I feel totally normal when I run. So that is the biggest update I have for you guys. But I kind of wanted to like talk about the first trimester now that I can talk about it and just like what's been going on for me mentally. I don't know if people talk about this enough, and I wish that I would have through my other pregnancies, because honestly, it's a little bit of PTSD. Like, this is my fourth baby, and it's kind of been the same for each baby. Every woman's pregnancy looks different, so I'm sure there'll be some things that you'll be able to relate to and other things not so much. But I think sharing our experiences helps us feel less alone, and I'm really going to try to not get emotional, because it's like been this big hard thing that I've been going through, and you kind of feel alone because you just, I don't know, at least I have felt alone. I don't want to speak for anyone else. I have felt alone in my struggles, because one of the biggest reasons is I have this tendency to want to be positive and uplifting, and like, I never want to be a drag. I never want to be the reason why someone else feels drained after being with me. And I just want to spread positivity and just be a light to other people, not a drag. And I haven't felt a lot of light. I haven't felt a lot of like joy and happiness, because I've just been trying to survive every day. The fatigue is like insane for me, which, like, I know every mom is tired, but this is like amplified times 10, like to the point where if I some days would lay down, I wouldn't be able to get back up. And if I would stand up, I'd get like lightheaded, and like I'd have a huge headache, and like light would bother me, like kind of small migraines. And just like with the combined with the nausea was just like so hard for me to function. So on those days, I just felt like I couldn't show up for people in a positive way. So then that makes me kind of like go into a shell and not want to come out of my house or post, because I don't want to like be a drag for anyone or burden anyone with my negativity. So then that just leaves me to me and my thoughts, which isn't great because I normally have pretty healthy self-talk, which that's like another thing that's just so shocking and jarring for me when first trimester hits is just like how negative and how like down my mental state is. It's just crazy. Like there's just this I I feel like someone overtook my body. It's not me. Like I've been hijacked. And like I kind of have. Like the baby has hijacked my body. And now I'm sharing my body with the baby, which is such a beautiful miracle and I'm so grateful for it. But yeah, like that voice in my head being like, you're so lazy. You haven't done anything today. Why are you even trying? Like you're such a failure. Just like really rude things that my brain is telling me. And then I'm trying to talk back and be like, no, I'm making a baby. Like I can rest. Like it's okay. Like my husband is taking over. Like I literally have these like battles in my head. And then another aspect of it is the guilt of being miserable, because I'm like, there are people that would die, that there are people out there that would be so happy to feel all the things that I'm feeling. They would be so grateful to be pregnant and be pregnant with their fourth child. Like what an amazing, beautiful miracle that my body is equipped and ready and making this healthy baby. So, yeah, the guilt of feeling miserable is another aspect that I've been having to, fight every day, where it's like, it's okay that I'm miserable. I don't need to be smiling and happy every day. I can just do my best every day, and my best is going to look different every single day. So, it's kind of been what I've been going through, and maybe why you haven't seen more of me. I've been trying to survive, but we're doing it. I would love to say I'm out of the woods. I'm not really out of the woods yet. But yeah, I'm just doing what I can every day. And I was excited to tell you guys today. So now I feel like it might be better because more people will know. And I don't know. I just already feel so relieved. Okay, so the other day, my mom gave me really good advice, and I want to tell you about the conversation that I had with her. That day, I was feeling like a huge slug and just feeling like I was falling short, and I just felt like I wasn't being the mom and wife that I knew I could be. And she said, she obviously like validated all that I said, and she was like so good at making you feel seen and normal. Like she's just so empathetic. She's so good at being a shoulder to cry on. I think that's a gift that she has. Like people just can confide in her. She's like such a safe place. I'm really grateful I have her. She was like even busy when I called her, but she could tell I was crying, so she like stepped out and took 20 minutes to talk me off of my crying cliff. I wasn't really on a cliff. I was just like, she could tell I was like not in a good place, and she wanted to help me calm down. So basically she told me that if there are things that I want to accomplish, I can delegate a lot more than I realize. And even though I have a 7-year-old and a 5-year-old, my husband and them can help me a lot more than I'm allowing them to. And she was saying that when she was a young mom and she'd get tired or overwhelmed or just like didn't have the energy to do the things that she wanted, she would ask us for our help, and we actually loved helping her. And I think as moms, we just try to do as much as we can on our own, and we have a hard time asking for help, at least I do. So it was a good reminder that I can delegate. I can delegate the things that are still important to me, that I want to get done, but that I don't have the energy to do. And she was saying that if I want to have a better scripture study, because that was the specific thing that I felt guilty about. I'm like, I want to have like family gatherings and be better about our family scripture study. She said, have your oldest get a piece of paper and write down prayer, scripture, and song. And then she'll pick who does what, and then she can lead And she's like, you can be laying on the floor for all this. And that image was just like it seemed so doable. I was way less overwhelmed when she gave me that idea because I was like, okay, I could do that. Like, that seems doable. And then just making your expectations clear with your husband or your partner, which is something I'm not great at doing. So just the idea of like vocalizing your needs, and you don't even need to be pregnant for this stuff. I mean, we get overwhelmed, pregnant or not, as moms and wives. But vocalizing what you want the day to look like and what would make it a great day for you. I think a really great question Jake asks me is, what are your hopes and dreams for the day? Or what are your hopes and dreams for the night? And that gives me the chance to tell him what would make it a great night for me, and then he can help me do that. But there are the times where I get to my lowest of lows. It's because I didn't communicate what I wanted, and then just things spiral really quick. I sound so dramatic. I guess I am dramatic. I need to just accept that. But the other thing she said that I really liked was that she reminded me that being with my kids and loving them is the most important work I could ever do, and that God sees my effort and He can magnify my effort. He takes my very best and then He can make a perfect day. Maybe it's not my version of a perfect day, but it's perfect for my family, and God knows what my family needs. So I cannot tell you the relief I felt after talking to my mom. There's nothing more comforting than being able to express your feelings to someone close to you and then getting support and strength from them. And it doesn't need to be your mom all the time. It can be your spouse. It can be a sister or a friend. Like, there are so many people that are standing on solid ground that are so willing and ready to help us when we feel like we're not standing on solid ground. So this is just a good reminder. It was a good reminder for me to reach out, to make the call when you feel like you're in the depths of despair. Because after that 20-minute phone call, I felt so much better. And I woke up and had an amazing day. Like, the next day was like a million times better. So it can make such a difference when we just reach out, share our feelings and thoughts with people we trust, and they can have the chance to strengthen us and help us. I should start recording my calls with her. The other day we were at her house and she was talking to Jake and I about like these young parenting years, and she was saying so much good stuff. And I was like, if I start recording her, she'll know and then she'll stop. So I gotta figure out sneaky ways to record my mom. Okay, the 2-year-old Jaxie is another thing I wanted to talk about, just in case any of you have a 2-year-old at your house. I try to not say the terrible twos because I think as a mom, I need to be very careful with the words that I use, because words are powerful. And if you tell everyone all the time that you have a terrible twos kid, then you start to see them as terrible, you know? Like, I learned that lesson with my second. I would tell everyone that she was wrecking my life, and it's really sad for me to even say that now because it makes me emotional, like thinking of how far we've come, that little relationship, and just how much I love her and see her for what she really is now. It took a lot of work, it took a lot of prayer, but now that relationship is so amazing, and I'm sad that I used to tell everyone and anyone that would listen how she came to wreck my life. That's what I was saying. So I stopped saying that, and instead I started talking about her in positive ways to everyone, and it really did affect how I saw her. So I try to not say that my 2-year-old is in his terrible twos, even though all of the behavior is very textbook for a 2-year-old. He is learning how to communicate, and he's learning how to tell us what he wants and when he wants it, and so he's figuring out boundaries, and that is just a very fun time for us. Like, once he learned how to talk and form sentences and commands, he now is kind of playing around with the tone of voice and how he says things and what facial expressions to use to, communicate how much he wants something or when he wants it. So we're definitely working through all of that. And when it comes to tantrums or big emotional freakouts, his feelings are very intense. He's now trying to navigate all these big feelings and trying to put words to these feelings and emotions. And it's been an adventure, to say the least. But he's so cute. He's the happiest guy, and he's so freaking cute that, like, I swear it's like puppy dogs. Like, puppies are so hard to take care of, but they're so cute that people take care of them. I think that's why God makes little babies so cute, because I mean, I think it's a survival mechanism. Like, they're so adorable, because if he was a little gremlin, I would put him up for adoption or give him to my sister. I know my sister would take him in a heartbeat if I was ever to tap out. But anyways, I don't know what I'm even saying, because I obviously wouldn't give him away. But I want to knock on wood before I say this, because I don't want to jinx anything. Man, maybe I should even whisper it so that I don't jinx myself. But he doesn't really have a lot of tantrums, and when it's time to calm him down, if he is crying, he can calm down within seconds. I've kind of figured out what helps him calm down, and I've gotten it down to a pretty good science as far as like the things that work for him. So I want to share the things that have been working, just in case you have a toddler that has big emotions too, and you can maybe try some of these. Like, they're very obvious, and I'm sure you've heard of all of them, but I like to hear other people's ideas and ways they're doing things. So I just want to tell you the things that are working for us as of late. And all of these things I learned from my parents. Like, this is what they would do with us. So it's definitely modeled to me, and I know it works. I see them do these things with my nieces and nephews or my own kids. So they are the OGs of these tools. Obviously, they didn't invent them, but they just know that they work. And so, yeah. Okay, so number one is painting your face. My mom would usually do this to try to relax us to go to sleep, but she would just pretend that her finger was a little paintbrush, and she would go along our eyebrows and our nose and our cheeks and our lips and our chin. Like, every detail of the face was painted, and is so relaxing and calming. And I remember loving that. So we use that one a lot. Songs is the biggest thing for Jaxie. If he is sad or crying, even if I have to change his diaper and he's fighting it, if we sing a song, he's just calm and just like wants to listen to the song. So his current obsession is Itsy Weensy Spider. I don't know if it's Itsy Bitsy or Eensy Weensy. If anyone knows what the difference is there, or if I'm saying it wrong, let me know. But yeah, we sing Eensy Weensy Spider. And then obviously holding them. I've talked about this a lot, but I feel as a child I was able to live in my mom's space and feel peace there. There's a psychologist that calls it a field of peace. We can create that for our kids, and I feel like I was able to benefit from my mom's peace that she just gave off, because she was taking care of herself and because she was prioritizing her own emotional well-being. I was enjoying the fruits of that as a kid. So if I, as a mom, can work on my own emotional well-being, and I am like, my nervous system is regulated, and this takes work every day. You help your nervous system feel regulated and calm. For me, it's like meditating, being outside in the sunshine, journaling, praying. Like, I have my go-to things that help me come back to peace and calm. But if I'm doing that consistently, I know that even just holding my baby can help him feel calm. So that's a cool tool to have in my toolbox for him, is that, like, come be by me, like, let's listen to my heartbeat, or like just listen to me breathe. He doesn't like to breathe very much. Like, I can't get him to take big breaths usually when he's mad or sad, but if he's by me, I can take a breath, and him just listening to my breath can help him calm down sometimes. And then times where I really want him to take a deep breath and he won't, I kind of trick him. I know maybe this isn't good, but if we're in the car and he's crying, saying he wants to get out or something, I'll roll down the window, and recently the trees have had tons of blossoms on them, and I'll tell him to try to smell the flowers from the car. And so he's like, and you can hear him take his big breath in the back. So, and then sometimes with his blankie or a stuffy, I'll be like, can you smell your blanket? It smells so good. Can I smell it? And I'll go to smell it, and then he wants to smell it. So there are like kind of tricky ways you can get them to use their smell sense. I feel like that's such a powerful one, because it's obviously a sense. Like, if you're helping them connect with one of their five senses, that's going to help them regulate their nervous system. But also just like the breath itself helps so much. It's like meditative. Even one deep breath can make a huge difference in their whole day. So any way that I can get him to take a breath, I do. And sometimes it's singing. Like, if I can get him to sing, you're kind of slowing down your breath as you sing. So, and that's obviously sound too. And then going along with sound, another thing that he loves is looking for things in the sky. With my daughters, it worked better to look for birds, or like listen for crickets, or look for the butterflies or something. But for him specifically, airplanes and helicopters work the best. He will drop anything and stop crying immediately if he can hear a helicopter in the sky. So luckily where we live, there's a lot of airplanes and helicopters going around. So usually we can find one in the sky. And then if we can't, he's quiet trying to listen for them anyway. So like, either way, even if we don't find one, he quiets down because he wants to make sure he can listen for one. And then we just go back inside. Oh, didn't hear one. Like, let's go inside now. And then he will have forgotten about what made him sad in the first place. So those are some of the things that we've been trying. And I say this all the time. I feel like a broken record, but doing all of those things in other settings too. Not just waiting to put out the fires when they're blazing, but like looking for the airplanes a fun, normal thing. Making smelling the flowers or taking a deep breath a very normal part of our day. Doing those things and correlating good feelings with them is so good for the kid, because then when they do have the freak out and they're having intense emotional reactions to something, if you ask them to look for a butterfly or sing a song, they're like, oh, I do like singing a song. Like, let's do that. It seems like a better idea because they know they like it. It's not just this thing that mom makes them do every time they cry. So, especially the deep breaths. Like, before they go to bed, have them blow out the candles or blow down your finger one by one, your fingers one by one. Like, there are little things that you can do. I mean, there's so many variations of each of these, but I do know that they are scientifically proven to help regulate the nervous system. And I've gone into a little more depth in other episodes about that. So you can check those out if you want. I can add them into the show notes. The other day we went to Lagoon for my daughter's birthday, and we were in line. I was talking to my husband's sister and brother. My husband didn't end up coming because he stayed home with Jackson. We wanted him to take a good nap and stuff, so he stayed home. He took one for the team, and I went with his family to Lagoon. And I was talking to his siblings about our peak. We were like laughing about pictures from the past of like our peak years, and they asked me like, what year was your peak? Like, when were you in your prime? And I could not think of a year. Like I finally just like opened my phone and was going through pictures, and I was like, when was my peak? And then after thinking about it for a long time, I'm like, I think my peak was a few months ago at Mesa Marathon. Like, my VO2 max was as high as it's ever been. Mentally, I felt so clear and strong. And I mean, physically strong, and just like, I don't know, like confidence wise and health wise, like fueling my body. Like, I really had come to this new understanding of all this stuff. And so I was like, I think my peak was 2 months ago. And I just can't stop thinking about that. And I've been asking everyone, like, when was your peak? When do you think was your peak? And it's just a really fun question to think about. I hope that I can continue living out my peak, like that my peak just comes with me wherever I go and whatever stage of life I'm in. I think it's really easy to slip into really bad habits when you are pregnant because it's so easy to blame everything on being pregnant. I know because sometimes I do that. But I have been thinking about that a lot and what my peak pregnancy could look like. And I don't know, I want to like figure out what that would look like for me and what type of workouts, what type of daily habits can I, make a part of who I am, so that when I look back at the pictures of this pregnancy, I can be like, that was my best pregnancy. Like, I am so proud of the life that I was living for those months, instead of being like, I really let myself go because I felt like crap. So I just let everything go. Like, I just don't want to do that. Anyways, so yeah, it's a good question to ask yourself. Like, am I at my peak? When was the last time I was at a peak, and what can I do to get there and then get even better? I don't know. Those are just the good thoughts. I think it's just like motivating to think about that kind of stuff. Maybe it could stress someone out, but for me, it gets me like excited. But yeah, Lagoon was really, really, really fun. I haven't been in like a year. We go a lot because my husband's family loves Lagoon, and now I love Lagoon. I used to not love it because I'm not really like a roller coaster gal, but I've made such good memories with my kids there that now it's like a really special place. And this time, my Remy girl, she's 7 now, we went on a ride called Spider, and it was so fun, and it reminded me of junior high. I loved that ride in junior high. And for some reason, I get the giggles, and it's just the funniest ride. And she loved it, and it was so cute to stand in line with her for a big kid ride. And I just couldn't believe I had such a big kid. It's making me feel so old knowing that I have a 7-year-old. Oh my gosh. So yeah, that's what we did this weekend. I've been seeing a lot of butterfly effect videos, and how people say like the butterfly effect is crazy because if this wouldn't have happened, this and this and this, like they give their own like spin on it of like how, because one tiny thing happened, it led to where they are now. And I was thinking about my life and what my butterfly effect would have been, and I don't know. I think these things are really fun to think about. I'm such a romantic, and I love making cute narratives around things that ended up happening. I kind of see it as ways that God was directing my life or putting angels in my path to get me to the places where I needed to be at those exact times. The butterfly effect is basically the idea that one flap of a butterfly's wings could eventually lead to a tornado. For Jake and I look at our life, and it is crazy to think that we met because I had just come back from Peru, and our mutual friend knew that we would probably want to talk because he was headed out to Peru in a few weeks, and that he'd probably have a few questions for me and like want to talk to me about Peru. So if my mom wouldn't have sent my brother and I to Peru, I probably never would have met Jake, and fast forward to now, we're like about to have our fourth kid and we've been married for 9 years. But yeah, you could even dissect the story even more, like from the time we met when I was 16, fast forward a lot of years. I don't know how many years. Let's see. I can't do math. 6 years later, I posted a picture, and if I wouldn't have posted that picture, he wouldn't have seen it, and that wouldn't have like put the idea back in his head that I was alive and that I was back from living out of the country and that we could hang out again and date. Anyways, you could really like go crazy with the butterfly effect. Now we have almost 4 kids and I've never been happier, and I'm proud of the little life that we have created together, all because my mom decided to send me to Peru. I don't know if she realized the impact that would make on my life. And I think if you overthink it too much, like the narrative of your life, it can give you anxiety. Like, is this the right choice? Is this going to lead me to the right thing? Is this a bad choice or a good choice? Or sometimes, a lot of times, you're trying to choose between good, better, and best, and that could just be paralyzing or anxiety inducing. And I like to take the approach of Anna from Frozen to just do the next right thing, take a step and step again. And eventually you can look back on life and realize that it all worked out really well. In fact, better than you could have ever imagined. And it's truly amazing to see what God can do if we just keep taking steps in the right direction. So yeah, those are my updates for the week. Make sure to sign up for our text messages if you haven't already. We send out 1 to 2 texts a week. It's either from my mom or me, sometimes my dad. But they're so cute, very fun to write those out for you guys. My mom has written out hundreds with you guys in mind, and they're so sweet and special. And I've gotten so many messages about how you got them at the perfect time and they're just what you needed. So it's been really cool to see how they're impacting your guys' life. Make sure to sign up for the newsletter if you haven't already. That's just where I put all the links and updates to everything. And if you like the podcast, like it, follow it, comment, subscribe, do all the things, because it really, really helps support the channel and the podcast and me. So your comments and interactions do not go unnoticed. I read every single one and I notice everything. I'm the only one here doing all this, so I'm grateful for you guys and for your support every day. And I love you so much, and we will talk soon. Bye.